This video is sponsored by my will to live. Find out if it survives by the end of the video. War, death, famine, Pokemon. The four horsemen of the apocalypse. The strife around Pokemon comes to a head around a group of 8, known distinctly for their cute appearances and lukewarm stats. The debate on which one best ravages forums everywhere. Today I strive to quell this debate using the mathematics of voting and a little healthy amount of political science. If you don't know who these 8 are, let me introduce them. The eeveelutions are 4 Pokemon that evolved from the ever-popular Eevee and go as such: Vaporeon, Flareon, Jolteon, Umbreon, Espeon, Glaceon, Leafeon, and the Transicon, Sylveon. There are many different theories on how to best hold elections, but in order to have an election, we need data. So I sent out a poll to 40 of the most experienced Pokemon masters, otherwise known as theater kids. These r/Pokemon took down my post. I asked them to rank the eeveelutions worst to best on whatever means they saw fit. One day later, our results are in. With this data, it lets us try out 4 different theories of elections: plurality, pairwise, also known as the Condorcet method, board account, and plurality with elimination, or instant runoff voting. Everything I teach here will all be how to simulate these elections. The methods all attempt to account for different criteria created by God himself, or like a group of political scientists' opinions on fairness, but personally I think it's God himself. So, let's go into it. Our first criteria is major criterion. Major criterion is simple. It states whoever has a majority should win an election. Just in case you failed government, a majority is 50% of the votes plus 1 vote. In the case of our polling size, to secure a majority, you need 21 votes. Another criterion is the Condorcet criterion, which states that a candidate who wins the most amount of one-on-one elections should win the election. This criterion basically exists to justify pairwise's existence, and to make me cry. While not an official criterion, attempts to appeal to human nature to have more than one preference will come up often. Time in counting votes and time in voting is another thing. A longer process means a longer election. These aren't the only criteria political scientists use, but is the most important for our experiment today. Plurality is the method used in most democratic elections. Whoever has the most first place votes wins. This process is easy and simple, which is why it's used in many places, such as the USA. Oh, how I salute my flag while a member in our great elections. Build a great wall! In the case of eeveelutions, last place went to Flareon with 2 votes. 6th place is a tie between Glaceon and Jolteon, who both received 3 votes. In terms of water-based Pokemon, 4th place is a tie between Vaporeon and Espeon, receiving 4 votes. Moving up to 3rd place is Leafeon with 6 votes. In 2nd place is Umbreon with 7 votes, leaving Sylveon at 1st place with 11 votes. This election style is flawed, to say the least. Plurality does not always indicate the views of the masses. While it may pass the majority criterion, especially in a 2-person election like the US's, it will automatically fail the Condorcet criterion. It is cheap and quick to run and is often used to promote voter turnout. However, it fails to account for the multiple views of people and does not promote the election of moderate winners. Additionally, an overall unpopular candidate can win if their group can sufficiently produce voters for a majority. Board account is an election style invented many times in history. However, it's named after the 18th century mathematician Jean-Charles Zaborda. I'm sorry, French, can you please pardon me? Its basic idea is that you give points based on different ranks. So the lowest rank receives 1 point, the second lowest receives 2 points, up to the maximum number of points, which is n, or the amount of options you have. Here, let me show you. If we look at Sylveon's Borda data, we see that it received 11 first place votes, meaning this gets counted 8 times. Moving to the right, we see that Sylveon received 5 second place votes, and the calculations follow as such. This continues on for every place afterwards and every evolution as well. In the end, we end up with very similar results to the last one. However, Leafeon results in second place and Umbreon settles in third. If you want the calculations, here they are. This is a bad example of board account. It happened that Sylveon was such a popular candidate that it remained in first place. Borda doesn't seem like it'd be an effective choice as it directly violates both the majority and Condorcet criterion. But what it lacks in majority, it makes up for in taking account of all sides of an election. It gives small candidates a better chance and provides a more fair setting. However, it is very time consuming. Doing equations to decide election results is never fun and explains why it's used in so little actual elections. Our next method is plurality with elimination or instant runoff elections. The idea here is that a majority is needed to win an election, but you can't force a majority. However, you can simulate it. First, we host a plurality election like our original ballot. Once this is done, we get out the M16 and eliminate the candidate with the lowest votes. The second place votes for the individual who had their first place eliminated now gets counted. This process is repeated until a majority is received. Something to mention though is that ties can occur. In this case, a dice roll or a coin flip is the most fair way to solve it. In the first round, Flareon gets eliminated, only having 2 points. The next round results in a 4-way tie, needing a dice roll to solve. Vaporeon gets eliminated, to the chagrin of 4chan. Next, Jolteon gets eliminated because it's this is a fair and not biased election. Next round received a tie between Glaceon and Espeon, resulting in a coin flip. Head results in Glaceon's head getting axed. It turns out to be in vain as Espeon was eliminated next. The big three begin to battle it out, with Umbreon coming out on bottom. In the final duel between Sylveon and Leafeon, Sylveon wins with a 2-point majority. The final rankings are this. So what's the deal with this process? Well, it does satisfy the majority criterion. It fails the Condorcet criterion. It does take into account other perspectives, but it's similarly time-consuming. This method is overall worse, just like Sword and Shield. While it attempts to satisfy a lot of grievances with modern-day elections, it fails to have the same level of fairness as board account. However, it is used in many places, such as India and Ireland for presidential elections, as well as being adapted for the UK Parliament. Our final type of voting is pairwise, or Condorcet method. This method involves a 1v1 battle between each individual. A point is received whenever a 1v1 battle is won, and half a point when it ties. This method makes me want to kill myself. In order to simulate this, you have to use a spreadsheet of results and go through every single respondent to see what side they would rather vote for. Let me show you an example. In a battle between Vaporeon and Glaceon, this person would rather vote Vaporeon because it's higher in their ranks. Whoever has the most amount of preferred votes will get that point. This process of looking for the preferred candidate happened over 1,000 times in my 28 matches and 40 voters. Oh, so that's where that sponsor went. The results are as followed. The Condorcet method does in fact pass the Condorcet criterion, wonder why, and also passes the majority criterion. However, the time on either the voter's behalf or the balloter's behalf almost makes this not worth it. So, what did we learn? Well, Sylveon is by far the most popular candidate, winning all 4 different election styles. The least popular candidate overall was Flareon. Voting methods are a very difficult subject. Longer, more accurate voting methods reduce voter turnout and is time-consuming. Shorter, more efficient methods tend to annex smaller candidates. Changing a voting system is very hard to do, and the use of AI is still mistrusted in many places. If you wish to learn more about this, I highly recommend doing your own research, as mine is very surface level. I've only taken like one class on it. Reach out to your local governments if you believe a different voting method is more efficient. But for now, that's all. And remember, please vote.